And to his right, a digi-cultural trend analyst, tech entrepreneur, and author, Lauren DeLisa Coleman. Lauren is a leader in tracking the convergence of popular culture and mobile emerging technology behavior and deciphering its impact on business and governance. As a tech entrepreneur, Coleman is the force behind the unprecedented LNK Collective. I said that right, the LNK Collective, that helps Washington power players create messaging and strategy that better resonates with today's modern, tech-savvy constituents using a unique blend of data science and cultural intelligence. She appears frequently on MSNBC. You write for Daily Beast, Huffington Post. You do all kinds of media appearances, and at your previous digital agency, Punch. This is great, Punch Media Group. You provided branding strategy and content development for notables from Jay-Z to Microsoft and had offices in both the U.S. and Paris, France. Today, Coleman is represented by leading authorities and speaks professionally on disruptive tech trends, public sentiment and opportunities at influential organizations, corporations.
Cultural intelligence is incredibly important, not only for the private space right now, but even more so for the public space, as we are able to target in a more and more granular way. We have data that can tell you, I don't know, somebody's wearing blue underwear at 2:02 p.m. But if you don't understand how to be able to balance that, it really is kind of almost useless, right? So what I'm seeing right now is that there is completely like data-rich side that is creativity and oftentimes culturally intelligent core. And so you have to really be able to understand how to blend these two scenarios together so that you're creating communication, content, whatever, that is actually relevant to who it is that you're trying to target. And so when I speak about cultural intelligence, that is primarily what it is about, being able to have a deep, rich understanding of how content might be reacted upon even before it's put out there by using a lot of predictive analytics that I do with my data analysis team, being able to understand larger macro trends in the United States and how it kind of filters down, how it might differ from certain subsegments of millennials versus other demographics in our culture. So it really is about being able to understand trends, behavior, insight, and more specifically how I do it, how it rides across and intersects with emerging tech platforms. So whether it be mobile taking any format, smartphone, right up to VR, to beacons, holograms, whatever. That's really my field of expertise.
Gotcha.
And in terms of cultural intelligence, I didn't forget
you
that
got,
too.
You got to answer 2016.
2016, I think we have yet to see that. It's obviously still very early in the game. I think that the ones that we do kind of drill down into cultural intelligence and are able to do it in an organic manner will be the ones, who win. You can't possibly talk to somebody at close range of having, a phone in your pocket or, virtual reality on your head without having something that is incredibly, compelling and made just for that specific end user, builder, consumer, what have you. So I think that more and more we're going to see a convergence of an understanding in this space. But just yet, I'm still seeing pretty much the same that has taken place, and so we're hoping to see new things, come about. Not like repurposing of the same ad that's on television, which appears on mobile, which appears on, this is part of what cultural intelligence is, or maybe an example of the lack of it.
We always talk about data and the importance of targeting, but if you're going to target and then not change the message,
right,
it really doesn't make a difference. And actually, I wanted to go back to a point, Sean and Lauren, we were talking about this a little bit yesterday,
right,
and this whole idea that you need to, speak to these very targeted audiences. It just happens, unfortunately, that in so many campaigns they look at TV and say we're going to spend all of our money on TV, with digital being a smaller slice, and then mobile being an even smaller slice of that. Even if it is a smaller slice, shouldn't you be targeting to that or speaking directly to that user in a different way than you're speaking to, say, a TV watcher?
I think absolutely. I mean, I come originally from the private sector, so I started my career in production at MTV, and then I ran my own digital agency, working with primarily entertainment and media clients, and now doing what I'm doing. And so for us, it's kind of like second nature that you just automatically create for a fragmented country, and it is becoming even more fragmented. And when we speak about millennials as, you know, of course the panel just did before us, then we're talking about even more, you know, sub-fragmentation. And so you have to, even though it might not be easy and it calls one to be certainly much more innovative, you have to be able to create, you know, content that speaks to the various fragments and to be able to understand them and to bring in those who will be able to either confirm or deny whether it is factual or not. I love being, you know, in DC, but I find that sometimes it's very insular, and having worked so much in entertainment and Hollywood, it's, you know, almost the same thing, right? Obviously different objectives, but they're worlds that you can't penetrate just very easily. And so we end up talking only to each other, and I think that a lot of times that, you know, is just complete disservice if you're trying to create content that resonates across many different platforms for many different demographics. Particularly with politics, where you're talking about something that, you know, it hits the heart. I mean, I think, you know, I've heard over the last day and a half a lot about data and data science, et cetera, and I'm a huge fan of that and use that, but at the end of the day, we're talking about values which stem from culture and emotion and all of that. So if you aren't really tying the two together, I think it's really much harder to do the job that you can. But I think the objective is always to win, whether, you know, you're talking about a candidate or outselling for toothpaste. And so, you know, you have to know who's using this particular platform at what time, how do they look, how are they dressing, what do they think, and be super into it. And if you aren't, to have, you know, ambassadors that will speak on your behalf or, like I said, confirm or deny what it is that you're doing. Intrigued as well to see how mobile beacon technology plays into all of this and into all of our lives, where it's forecasted, I think, like there'll be 4.8 million beacons in the United States by 2018, so probably by 2016 election time there'll be at least half that many. Facebook is already testing out beacons in the local area in Manhattan and other parts of the country. So, you know, I think it's about like being able to test things and test them within a controlled, maybe, environment and see what happens with that. What happens when you tie a beacon to a wearable and then just see what happens in terms of either data, message driving, or whatever. If your candidate is going to be speaking at a town hall inside of a particular venue, and you've set up beacons because they're really inexpensive to be able to shoot certain information out prior to the candidate coming on stage, which then maybe you get additional information once you touch something on your watch. Who doesn't want that? That's like sexy and seductive any day. And then you set that up so that it's maybe fragmented to hit like, or speak to maybe the mom in the audience, different from like the hip hop DJ. Yeah, that's sexy.
Can you explain beacon?
Yeah, because actually myself and my team, this is like back in the day in terms of anything like technology. Back in the day, it's like, what, more than a year. And we called it Bluetooth technology. And so we found these engineers in like the UK that had these huge devices where you could kind of, in a really cumbersome way, set it up so that you could shoot content out to somebody's phone. Now, of course, you were supposed to be able to get the opt-in and all that, but being renegade and hip hop, we weren't really trying to do all that. And so we were working with a particular, I think it was like, maybe when like either Eminem's first like animated DVD came out, whatever, and he was performing at Universal Amphitheater. And so I just had like my team like kind of stealthily like see what happens if we use this technology. Can we actually shoot it into people's phones and like at least get them excited or just wonder what this is. And so, you know, we talk about open rates and targeting and all this stuff today, and back then it was just like, did it get into the phone or not, like it was a huge success. So fast forward to today, we call this beacon technology, and so it's much more sophisticated, and the devices are relatively small, and it's very inexpensive, and so the easy way to describe it is that this device will just shoot information into your phone should you opt in and have the application, and then you would be able to experience whatever it is that said beacon holder wants you to, whether it's navigating a building better or getting more information about a brand or something like this. This is why, of course, Facebook is very interested in it. Works well for localization for those who maybe have not tried it just yet. But I think if it's handled properly and people want to buy in, it could be really hot. those who like pour it out right away, of course the consumer, the end user, the voter, whatever, is going to tune out, right? Because I don't want certain things inside of my phone. And unless it's going to be compelling, right? The content can't just be like a regular old paper, right? It has to be something where I want this is going to enrich my life somehow, or give me value, or give me more information about the candidate that I can't get anywhere else. Now this is, you know, relatively interesting, but again, always tied to something else. If we look at these things in terms of silos, whether it's within the mobile space itself, or, you know, not speaking within a larger outreach or marketing campaigns, it really doesn't work. None of this stuff is meant to stand alone. Pandora's insane. What happens when you know, tie it into other elements, and it becomes, you know, just like a rocket. So I think that's really maybe one of the takeaways when talking about, you know, I think mobile content and wearables and things that are coming up, is how does it tie into or lift, give leverage to what I'm already doing. That's important.
Sounds like a beacon could also be used if you have a group of people, say, yeah, a campaign rally or a campaign event, and you want to raise money, instead of having canvassers standing in the crowd, you know, saying, hey, can you donate $5? You can send a message, click here to donate immediately, and it connects to a PayPal account.
And the hardware, if you will, is like, it's nothing, costs almost nothing. This goes back to what I was saying before about, you know, if you're dealing with limited budgets, you have to be creative, right? And you have to see what's coming up that I can use. I know what I can't, right? I can't hire a Hollywood team to shoot X,
right.
But what can I do? And what will stand out? And what will also maybe get me, you know, more press. I don't think any candidates, unless I'm wrong, have used any begins within anything, right? So if I'm Rand Paul and I want to turn it up like next time I'm out, why not? At the very least, I'm going to get press on that.
Right.
That's what I always would want.